Well, joining us now is Arleen. She's in sunny Florida, which, of course, it's sunny here, but very cold. It's not there. Arleen, how are you doing?
I am doing so well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you were back, what was it? You said 2014 you were with us last?
I want to say it was around 2014, 2015, right after my book, Chastities for Lovers, came out.
Okay, so you had just published that first book. And tell us how that has been going and how was the book received?
Oh my goodness. What an exciting journey it has been. My book was sparked after my time as a journalist working for the Tampa Bay Times. I put my virginity in the newspaper, and as you can imagine, the secular public did not know what to do with that. But what I learned in that experience was that people really didn't just want to read about chastity. They didn't just want to read about why anyone would save sex. They needed desperately to talk about it. I received such feedback to the degree that a book was born out of what I needed to say. And so Chastities for Lovers published back in 2014. And in all of these years since, believe it or not, to this day, I'm still getting feedback. I am hearing from people of all kinds, people who are dating now in a culture where chastity is just not encouraged or practiced very often. And they wanted to know that they're not alone. And so they sought out my book. Parents of teens and tweens who thought their kids were growing up in a world where no one saves sex anymore. And they read my book and found out that that's not true. There are plenty of people still saving sex out there. And I think the most stunning feedback I've gotten since the book came out really came from people who went in, who opened my book expecting to make fun of it, expecting to laugh at it, and to continue to call Catholics crazy for practicing this virtue called chastity. But several of those readers have reached out to me, and while they may not agree with what we believe or may not practice it now, they understand finally why we do. And I think that is a seed definitely worth planting. And I'm hopeful that it will flourish for them.
Did you find that for a lot of these people who are reaching out to you that they kind of felt alone in this, in their faith and in chastity, and you gave them the ability to say, wait, I'm not all by myself here?
Yes, exactly that. I think it is so common among Catholics, especially young adult Catholics or even older adult Catholics who are single and are trying to date in this very countercultural way, to feel alone, to feel like they're the only one. And that was part of my experience. When I was younger, I would discuss this with very few people until one day I realized, wow, I think I need to talk about this more widely. And once I did that, I started to hear from so many people who, for whom it was challenging to practice chastity because they felt alone. And that was really the hardest part, was feeling like they just didn't fit in, or feeling like there's no one out there who believes what they do. And so it's really been a goal of mine to not only equip people to practice chastity, but to know that, to help them know that they're not by themselves in this, and that there are people they can use as a support system to get through what is absolutely one of the most challenging parts of life, which is dating in a world that does not encourage virtue.
Arleen, marriage and relationships obviously get a lot of coverage, a lot of press these days. Secular programs such as Married at First Sight, The Bachelor and Bachelorette, these are all very popular. What do you think the fascination is?
Oh my goodness. So for the sake of full disclosure, I've never seen The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but I hear about it all the time.
Neither have I.
I have watched, I'm glad. I have watched Married at First Sight. And I don't, while I don't necessarily recommend the show, I think it's really, really telling. I think it unveils a lot of problems that are common right now among couples and potential couples. And I think that's part of why there's this fascination with it. I mean, part of that is, we were created for love. And so we're drawn innately to relationships, whether that's our own or other people's. But these shows, they really point out, like as an example, Married at First Sight. These people, they have a team of matchmakers who are therapists and pastors and people who have some level of skill in matching people up. And so they study these people who wind up at the altar as strangers. They have never seen each other. They have never met. They're truly, truly strangers. But then in the real world, you see couples dating for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and when they get to the altar, they're also still strangers. And that's not commentary on how long people should date. It's commentary on what are people doing while they're dating? What are they talking about? And I tend to argue, especially in all the things I've been writing lately for Catholic Match, that people are having the wrong conversations if they're having conversations at all while they're dating. And so they do wind up with these expectations of each other and these expectations of marriage that are just not healthy or realistic. And most people are either winding up single because of that, or never feeling happy in the marriages that they end up in.
Tell me, what is Catholic Match?
Oh my goodness, Catholic Match is it's an online dating site and app for single Catholics. I've been writing for the Catholic Match blog for years. I think probably since before my book came out. And it serves kind of two purposes. It will connect you with fellow Catholics in your area or all over the world if you so choose to venture out that way. And you can meet people in an easier way. It sort of pools the people together who share your virtue and your beliefs. But it's also got that blog, and that really serves as a resource for people who are either struggling in dating or feeling alone, or just having a hard time meeting people. I think the blog really serves to encourage and to equip people to date as Catholics in this world.
Arleen, it's been so great having you on the show with us today. A very positive outlook about love and relationships. Where can people learn more about your great work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do still post a lot of my work at arleenspenceley.com. I'm also on Instagram at Arleen Spenceley, Facebook, Arleen Spenceley, Twitter, Arleen Spenceley, and you can find my work. Most of it lately is on CatholicMatch.com.
I have to just ask you one more question, Arleen, because I'm just curious about this. I think it took so much courage to write that article. Were you nervous when it was about to be published?
Oh my goodness, yes. Over the course of my time at the Tampa Bay Times, I actually wrote three of what we began to call the sex essays, 3 sex essays. And the first time I wrote one, I remember, initially I backed out. I got so nervous about what the feedback might be like that I told the editor I didn't want to do it anymore. And I don't remember what he said to me, but he said something that encouraged me to transcend that fear and just go with it. And I'm so glad that I did, because if I hadn't done that, I don't know that I even would have the same understanding of chastity they have today, and the ability to equip other people to practice it, because it was in writing all those articles that I really started to dig deeper into what chastity is.
Well, Arleen, thank you so much for being with us. We shouldn't wait 7 years to have you on again.
I'd be happy to come back anytime.
Hey, have a great day.
You too, guys.
Bye, Arleen. God bless.